be easy to have a negative view on life when you grow up in the middle of a war, completely surrounded by poverty and despair. One man, however, was able to see past all this misery to find inspiration and beauty. No matter what life has dealt him, artist Lap No has chosen to ignore the negatives and view only the positives. The result has not only been incredible artwork, but also valuable life lessons.
Your life sometimes is stressed already, and also I must be a little bit lucky, despite that my life was very, let's say, agitated, tumultuous, all that, war, poverty, struggling all my life. But somehow I get out of it well, you see. And instead of getting hurt, actually I get more educated, more experience. And I think that if I have to really live my life again, I would never trade it, I was born in the beautiful Ha Long Bay, the famous bay in North Vietnam, near China. And then suddenly one night, my parents woke me up and we had to leave.
The Indochina War between Vietnam and France was reaching a point where civilian life was in danger. Lap was just 6 years old when his family had to escape to a refugee camp in South Vietnam. Unfortunately, the camps were overcrowded, with millions of people living in dire conditions. This, combined with a lack of jobs and schools, forced his family to flee Vietnam for neighboring Laos, where his parents hoped they could find a better life. With all this chaos going on in his young life, you'd think he would have been frightened and confused. However, Lap had a different perspective.
Actually, I was excited that, that you go to the new countries and, you expect something new, a new culture, new people. So in Laos, even with the hard time, the war, and besides going to school and all the chore that I had to do at home, at night I still have time to, with the candlelight, paint or draw. And actually, it's like the art helped me to escape the reality, the hard reality of my life at that time.
That harsh reality in Laos also pushed him to become more engaged with art, as well as contribute to his life's education. It was at this time that he began learning new languages. Besides Vietnamese, he could also speak Laotian and French. Still, times were tough, so he helped his family financially by painting and selling portraits.
When I finished my high school, then I had a show. That show I sold almost all my painting. That's how I had money to buy my ticket to go to Paris. It was difficult because, of course, I love my family, and to leave my family behind like that with young brother and sister, that I was almost the breadwinner at that time for the family. So leaving them behind, it was a change in my life again, another chapter. I was accepted in the art school of Paris. The French call it the École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts. It's one of the very famous art schools in the world. So I was fortunate enough to get accepted. The reason I chose Paris, not only because of the school, but the environment of art there is tremendous. You can choose so many concerts to go in a day, or so many shows, exhibitions, and museums, and so many famous artists come. It was wonderful time and wonderful place to educate yourself.
Immersed in Paris's culturally rich environment, Lap deepened his relationship with the arts. But he was also deepening his relationship with his future wife, Peggy, an American woman he met while in Vietnam. The only problem was that she was living in Morocco, so they were constantly flying back and forth between the two countries to see each other. The commuting finally stopped when they got married and moved to Washington, D.C. But his stay in the States was short-lived because soon after, life changed his path yet again. And they were off to the country of Niger in Africa. And as soon as they stepped off the plane, one thing about their new home was extremely prominent.
The heat. It's almost even hotter than Texas during the summer, you know? Mixing with the people, look at their culture, it's a beautiful place. The nature, the people, the culture, very rich, very different. You see, there's so many ethnicity, so many race actually, you know, origin of race that form Africa. Because of some of the country are very poor and they don't have much material and teachers, so that was a great opportunities for them too. And I did a lot for them. They did so well that every year we had show and sold the painting for them.
24 years of experiences in Africa taught Lap not only a lot about people and art, but also teaching. At any given time, he would have as many as 100 art students in his classes. During those rewarding times, he discovered that he has a unique ability to teach children. But after nearly 2.5 decades living in Africa, they decided to move back to the United States, settling in Texas, where Lap says he found his purpose.
My purpose now is concentrate on education, children especially, because I love it and I love children. You see, I love children, and you see the way they struggle, the way they, you know, they try to concentrate, and you help them, and you see their progress. You have to inspire the children. You have to give them curiosity. I don't teach them only what I know, but I'm teaching them to bring out the best out of each student. See, I have taught many children, and now they become very good artists. If they are not become good artists, at least they know how to appreciate art. That's important. That enrich their life. That's why I think if you have education, you have a lot of money, or you don't have much money, you still have a good life. This series of book is almost like my home life put together. My experience, my traveling, you know, my art. So I want to put it together and make a series of children book. I try to give the best, the illustration, but it's not illustration really. I illustrate them with my real art paintings. It started the first book with the African boy. Somehow he met the magic dragonfly, and that's how the dragonfly took him different place of the world. And that's where every place where he travels, he will meet friends, and then he will discover different culture, you know. And then each place they will have an adventure, a plot that they have to solve. But that's the purpose for children to, why they read it, they become curious. How children in the other country, how they live, you know, what kind of daily life they have to do, you know. My third book is going to be take place in Vietnam, and then the fourth book is going to be in Texas. And actually in here, the dragonfly is nothing but me. I give the children the opportunity to do things, to solve. I'm there to watch them, but I never get involved, you see. Something that inside me urged me to do it. I mean, if I don't do it, I miss it, you see. It's like something that's inside you that, you know. When I paint and I create like that, I'm very happy, you see. And because my mind wander imagination, you see of what's going to become of the fruit that you're going to do, And now I have at least almost 70 paintings for 2 books and counting, and more I'm painting. So I'm in a very happy, period of my life. The happiness, actually is what you find, what you love to do. When I write a book, I would wake up at 3 in the morning and I work until like 10 in the evening. I'm happy when I do that, you see. You don't feel that you have to work. I think no matter what talent you have, a lot of talent, it's not important. The important is the love, how much you love the art. And you have to work. Even a genius have to work very hard. At the end, it comes up to always working. You see, so if you want to write a book, you have to start writing. You cannot just, talk. I have idea about the book. You have to sit down and write the book. I have idea to paint. I have to sit down and paint. That is the most important thing.
No matter what the situation, throughout Lap's life he has been able to see beauty, even when it was hidden to others. But as soon as he puts paint to canvas, the beauty is obvious to everyone. That is how Lap lives, and that is how he encourages others to live.
Lap comes from such diverse background and has lived so many places and can paint so many styles.
He draws, he sketches, he does pastels, he does watercolors, he does oils, he does egg temperas.
And I have looked for teachers in the past, and they can maybe teach you a little bit here or there, but they weren't teaching me something really more than I already knew. Lap is so educated in art and so talented, and he can teach you anything you'd want to know.
You won't find teachers like this very many places, really. He's truly a master teacher.
We are so fortunate to have a classically trained teacher that studied in Paris and has painted all over the world.
I learned at a young age that when you look at a tree, it's not a lollipop. It's green, but there are 15 to 20 shades of green in a tree. And if you don't learn to see that green, you're not happy. You're not doing a full life. You're not living. You're existing.